So, guys, welcome again to the second class of the operation management. Last class, we have discussed the scope of operation management. Today, we'll try to finish the remaining two topics of Unit 1. One is second topic is characteristics of modern operation function, and the third one is the recent trends in production and operation management. Again, both these topics are theoretical, as the name implies. Yesterday, we have discussed about the scope of the operation management. So, in the scope of the operation management, first we have understood and we have spoken about what is operation management. So, Gagna, what is basically an operation management? What basically is the operation management, Gagna?
Sir, operation management means it is a raw material to finished goods, sir.
Yeah. So it is basically operation management is basically management of operations, and that operation engage certain activities. Those activities is in the form where you try to work on some inputs, which is your raw material, and then you process or convert that inputs into the finished good, depending upon the requirement of the client. So whenever we engage in operation management activities, we have in our mind the product design, the process design, material management, quality standards, and many other principles. And while keeping those principles in the mind, we try to create that product or service which ultimately creates some value in the market. If you are creating some product or service leading into no value and all, then definitely you will not get customer or consumer also for that product. So basically, operation management is all about the activities what the organization engage for converting the raw material or inputs into finished good or useful products. So the basically the output what we talk about here, Gagna or Rajshri, those outputs are basically of what type? It can be either product centric or it can be either service centric. Okay, so the end objective is to create some kind of product design or some kind of product which have value in the market. Okay, that value we need to understand, thinking about the perception of people about the value. That value we have to figure it out, thinking about the demand of that value in the market. If definitely if there's demand of the product what we are creating, definitely we'll have a customer. What matters is that in what level we are going to manufacture them. So all that is again very important. So the end product what we are creating, that is either product centric or either it is service centric. Sometime when we engage, it involve both product and service centric business. Like imagine if you go to some retail outlets and all, there you expect both product and service. Next we discussed was the objective of operation management. So in the objective of operation management, we have discussed two objectives. What were the two objectives what we discussed? Customer service and resource utilization. What is customer service? Customer service. What is customer service? Rajshri, what is customer service?
Service for the satisfaction of the customer wants, where we see the customer wants are satisfied.
When very good, but at three things, what is important in the customer service is those 3 points what we need to keep in mind if the question comes in exam. Those 3 points are specification, cost, and timing. You know, it operation management should ensure that the right thing should reach at the right time at the right price. Okay, so customer service means satisfying the customer needs and wants to make sure that the company provides the required output. That output should have the specification or the requirement what the customer want. It should be affordable or worth the price, and it should delivered at the right time. So basically, we focus on certain aspects here. Those are manufacturing, transport, supply, and service. Okay, in manufacturing, we are talking about the specifications. Like first of all, the product what we are manufacturing, it should follow the quality standards prescribed by the required regulatory body, and then it should meet the end objective of the customer. Okay, in the perspective of costing or in the perspective of timing, then transportation means like right product should reach to the customer at the right time is also matter. Imagine if I want for the Diwali or maybe for any occasion, some specific occasion, I want to buy some product, maybe I want to gift something to my daughter on her birthday, and imagine I'm getting the product after 2 months and all, then it won't serve the objective, although it is meeting the required specification what I'm looking for. But timing also matters to us, and that will again the timings and all. uh, if the transportation is not taken care, then ultimately the indirect cost of the product will also rise. So that should also be keep in mind. The next is the timing, and the next part, first is your costing, next one is timing, the next part is your costing. Costing we have done, then quality we are talking about, specification we are talking about, timing we are talking about, costing we are talking about, post sale service also. Okay, so certain time reverse logistic is also engaged when we are engaging in any kind of product. Okay, so once the product is being sold, every time they need to be some form of service which is required on the product. That should also be keep in mind. Okay, so imagine you bought some car, BMW or Yamaha, and then you are not getting the outlets only within your periphery where you bought, and then that become a headache. And like there's common perception about some kind of uh, car automobiles, like I don't want to mention XYZ. The common perception is that you don't get the service center, or you'll won't get the parts. Okay, so then that is also very important. So the post sale service is again very important. So the first thing we have discussed here was the customer service. Next thing we have to discuss, like we have discussed, was the resource utilization. So what is basically resource utilization? When we talk about resource utilization, it is basically means using the all available resources efficiently. Okay, like either it is time or labor or machine or material, so that the end customer needs should be meet effectively. Okay, so here when we talk about resource utilization, it is all about using all available resources efficiently. Okay, so that the end customer needs are meet effectively. Okay, if resources are waste or customer service is poor, then the business can fall also. And so these points we have discussed in resource utilization. So first we have discussed in this class, we have discussed about what is operation management. Then we discussed about the objectives of operation management, where we discussed about two objective: customer satisfaction and resource utilization. Okay, so here what is important, that while talking about the objective, that both the customer service objective should also be sustained, at the same time the resource utilization objective is also sustained, because that both is very important for us. Okay, then talking about the scope of operation management, we have discussed the scope of operation management, where in the scope of operation management we have discussed about location of facilities, plant layout and material handling, product design, process design, production and operation management, production planning and control, quality control, material management, maintenance management. Okay, so anyone, can you explain this, what we have discussed in the scope,
Yes,
what
sir.
we discussed in the scope? Yeah.
As this operation management mainly deals with the physical process of production.
Hmm.
There are the scope involves 8 points, which says location of the facilities, like where the production is to be done, where it should be located.
Hmm.
And the plant layout and material handling, where the plant should be located, where how the material should be handled, where we plan all those things.
Hmm.
And the next one is product design, what type of product is to be produced. And next one is process design, when the product is selected and how it should be produced, like how it should be manufactured, the process is to be designed. And the next one is production planning and control, like how to produce and control. Next one is quality control, where we monitor the quality of the product. Next one is material management, where we see how much should we produce.
Material management is all about like the end product, what you are manufacturing. Okay, so that proper storage of the material, the supply, the flow, because when you talk about the product development, it is not like you put the raw material into a machine and the end product get produced. It may involve lot of production abilities, like maybe you are converting raw material one to work in progress one. That work in progress one will need to be converted into work in progress two. There may be chain of activities which might engage to convert the raw material into finished good. Then what material management is all about, how you treat the work in progress. Is the proper storage, proper material management, are you engaging in some kind of activities which make sure that the wastage should be avoided, which make sure the unnecessary resource utilization should be avoided, which make sure that the quality standard should be maintained, which should make sure that the flow of material from one process to the other process should happen effectively. All that thing comes under the material management. Maintenance management basically means like when you are engaging in machine and you are using machines to convert your raw material into finished goods. So the machines which you are using, the labor what you are using, okay, all that will can occur wear and tear. Okay, are you maintaining a proper safety standard while doing your operation or not? If you are not doing, you are inviting unnecessary hindrances in your activities. Okay, you know that the machines what we are engaging, those are depreciable assets. You know that because of wear and tear, you know that the some kind of issues can happen in using the machines, in using the labors are also your, what you say, the resources which you are utilizing. So the proper what you say, environmental control management, the proper heat system management, the proper safety protocol, all that thing we need to maintain, keeping sure that the machines and equipments are in good working condition so that any kind of breakdowns can be avoided. So that comes under material management. Getting it right. So you have to remember these points, guys. So exam wise, these points are important. We have discussed about these points. Next thing, when we engage in what do you say, production and operation management, what question should come in our mind, that what to produce, how much to produce, where to produce, how to produce, and when to produce. So we have discussed the same point in economics also when we are preparing for CA foundation. That time in economics uh, we have discussed these points, like what to produce, the like the product design, and in the scope of production operation management there was a product design. So what you are creating, is that product is unique, or does this product really have value in the market, or you are creating some product sumne, you are developing some product which have no value at all. So if that product will have no value, then nobody gonna buy the product. So what you are producing, does it have really have some scope? The question here linked to the basic existence of the company. It talks about the product what you are creating. Okay, does the customer really have the need of that product or not? Okay, it talks about the competitive positioning of the company, its product acceptability in the market. So that question should there in your mind. Next is like how much to produce. How much to produce is all about demand forecasting. In next unit, we'll discuss about how much to produce, because there should be demand of how much you are producing. If you produce too much which does not have demand, because what you are producing, like the product can be of two types. Some product always have demand in the market, okay, irrespective of the number of consumer. And some product demand you have to create. The demand is not like people are not desperate of the demand, because there's something I need, something I want. And a car, having car is not the need, but eating food is a need. Okay, so what product you are creating, does that product really have the demand in the market or not? How much is the demand? How much you have estimated the demand? There, how much to produce comes. Where to produce is your production facilities of plant where you're going to manufacture. How to produce is your process selection and plant layout where you employ methods, machines to have a efficient production so that you can avoid your resource utilization to a certain extent. When to produce is all about your production scheduling, deciding the right time to start production to meet your demand without overstocking. है ना? So basically, we have discussed these questions: what to produce, how much to produce, where to produce, how to produce, and when to produce. Okay, once we have these questions in our mind, we can think about how we can engage ourselves in production and operation management, how we can see the scope of these activities, so that like processes like product selection, facility location selection, demand forecasting, process selection and layout design, capacity planning and aggregate planning or master production schedule, inventory management, supplier selection, process management, quality management, maintenance, warehousing, reverse logistic, all these areas should be taken care. And additional responsibility when we talk about an operation manager, they also take care of the working capital management and the skill management also. So along with engaging themselves in the important steps, either those are product selection or facility location selection or demand forecasting or capacity planning or maintenance or warehousing or reverse logistic, the operation managers also they engage themselves in the working capital management. Working capital management basically means managing day to day funds for operation, or skilled management means ensure that your workers are trained and skilled for the efficient performance. So in simple terms, I can say that the production and operation management involves making sure that the company produces the right product in the right quantity at the right time in the right place and delivers them efficiently to the customer while maintaining quality, sustainability, and cost effectiveness. Clear, everyone? Clear, guys?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
You know. So all this, I think these terms are self-explanatory. Product selection, like what product you are creating. Okay, does that brainstorming should be done. Thinking about the product, what you are trying to create, how what is the demand of the product in the market? Will that product will be able to sustain in the market or not? What kind of USP you are creating? How much R&D, research and development you are doing to create the product? Once you have discussed or thought about the product selection, next you have to think about your facility location selection, where you are planning to come up with your operation. And you have to forecast the demand of the product. You have to make sure that the you create a right production methods and arrange machine in a proper layout where the overall production planning is important. You have to think about coordinating your materials productions and distribution so that you can manage your raw material, you can engage in work in progress and finish good activities. And you have to think about your supplier of your raw material, There should not be any kind of miscommunication, where we employ a lot of activities which will study in today's class, where a lot of activities we engage Six Sigma or just in time. Okay, by using those activities, we make sure that there's a proper coordination between the manufacturing activities and the supplier of the raw material, which will supply the raw material. Okay, and then engaging in process management, controlling and improving the production process, ensuring that the product meet the quality standards, engaging the proper maintenance of machines and equipment so that they should always works in a good condition, and always thinking about creating a supply chain process, so that we have an appropriate logistic and reverse logistic also to be taken care. What do you mean by reverse logistic? Reverse logistic meaning, guys? What do you mean by reverse logistic? Okay, so
Sir,
reverse log.
maybe,
Tell
maybe
me.
not sure, but maybe like recycling the product, or like if at all someone wants to return the product, we can.
Yeah, yeah, that is what reverse logistic. Logistic means your end product, your whatever the product you have created in your production plant, है ना? So sometime what happens, there are some kind of product, like suppose you want to eat samosa. So you know the outlet where we get the samosa. You go to hotel, buy samosa and eat it. But every time it won't happen. Every time you are not uh, consuming that kind of product where you can reach the production plant and demand, and you get the product there itself. And so there is a appropriate channel of activities which is engaged to make sure that the product which is being created, that should reach to you, and that is what we call a supply chain management. And every time it won't happen, and you want to eat apple, but apples are not produced in Bangalore. So for eating apple, if you want apple, then those apples come from Kashmir. Now to get those apples from Kashmir, there's a proper chain of network. Supply chain management is being involved. There's a proper kind of channels are there which make sure that the end consumer get the required product what they're looking for. But certain time what happens, that the product what we are looking for may not be the product what we get, and we maybe for some reasons we want to return that product. Okay, and whenever we want to return that product, then the reverse activity happens, where the the particular department has to make sure that the product is being taken from back from the consumer and should be returned back to the manufacturing setup or the supplier of the product. Okay, so that the end consumer post sale service is also taken care. Because when we talk about the objective of operation management, it involves customer satisfaction and resource utilization. Resource utilization, you engaged in the upper process, like product selection, facility location selection, demand forecasting, process selection and layout decision, capacity planning, all these activities. When you are engaging, you have thought about resource utilization and you have taken care. But when we talk about customer service start from the moment when the customer is having a perception about the product. From when you are having a perception about the product, from that perception to the specification, to the timing, to the costing, to make sure that the end product what you're getting is what you have desired. But at the same time, if you have not desired also, if you are having some issue with the product should be returned back, and there should be proper channel which could make sure that it should done. And that is what we talk in the reverse logistic. Clear, right?
Yes, sir.
So going further here, so now in today's class, we'll talk about the characteristics of modern operation functions. So when we are talking about the characteristics of modern operation functions, we can say that, guys, like that today production management looks very different from how it used to be in the past, because as the time is progressing, you can see the lot of changes happens in the production management. And because nowadays we need to take lot of environmental and quality standards in the mind. Nowadays there are a lot of regulatory bodies are there around which take care that the, like what you say, environmental wastage should be maintained, which take care that the pollutions should be taken care. So nowadays we have more stricter norms and regulation which take care of the labor standards. Okay, earlier days, like nobody cares about human resource management and all. Nowadays human resource management is very critical thing. So nowadays when we talk about production management, it looks very different from how it used to be in the past. Earlier the main goal was just to produce as much as possible, mass production. But now production focuses on efficiency, quality, and competitiveness. Okay, so nowadays the objective of production management is very different from once upon a time when we were only talking about mass production and all. Now, basically, if I talk about production management, there are four main features of production system. Those can be manufacturing, it can be service orientation, it can be disappearance of smokestacks, it can be the small has become beautiful, and you produce less. You produce what is the customer requirement, that is more important than to produce whatever you can produce. Okay, so talking about manufacturing as a competitive advantage, I can say that in the past production was just another business activity where the focus was on producing enough goods to meet the demand. But today, companies already have high production capabilities, and so the focus is now shifted to how to produce better and smarter than the competitor. Now, that is the objective. Okay, no objective is not the mass production. The objective is how to produce better and smarter than your competitors. Okay, so now the company use modern techniques to get competitive advantages. Those techniques can be total quality management, just in time business process re-engineering, flexible manufacturing system, computer integrated manufacturing, virtual corporations. These are the kind of activities, production activities, what the companies are now right now engaging, so that they can create a better and smarter than the competitors. Total quality management is all about continuous improvement of quality. Just in time means producing only when needed to reduce the waste. Just in time, these all are the Chinese, these all are the Japanese and principles which were developed post World War, which created lot of changes in the production and operation management. Like just in time means when the requirement come, that time only you order the raw material and then you engage it. That is just in time. Total quality management means every time when you are engaging in your production activity, you always think about improving your quality. Business process re-engineering means you redesign your process for efficiency. Flexible manufacturing system is all about allowing quick changes in the production. Like you should be capable enough that whenever you realize that some changes is required in your production cycle, you quickly can address that. That is what flexible manufacturing system is there. Computer integrated manufacturing means you engage computers to store data, to do reverse engineering calculations and other processes, so that you can manage your production. Virtual cooperation means you use digital technology to coordinate your work globally. That comes under virtual cooperation. So these activities, guys, like which involve right now in manufacturing, are actually helping the manufacturer to take decisions about how they can produce better and smarter than their competitor. That here matters. Okay, the next thing is the service utilization. When we talk about service utilization, we can say that the now the service sector has become more important than ever. So the first point we have discussed about manufacturing sector. Next, we are discussing about service sector. So the modern production must include service elements like handling intangible or perishable product like software or food, talking about maintaining a constant communication with the customers, discussing about creating the end product in small batches so that it can serve the local market, setting up the facilities close to customer for faster service. Okay, so now we need professionals like managers and analysts who are engaged in data analytics or business analytics to so that they can create a kind of chain. That chain should tell the producer about the current demand of the consumer and what kind of changes can bring to the business process so that it can meet the customer requirement in much more better way. So manufacturing, the lot of remarkable changes have came up, either it's total quality management or just in time or business process re-engineering or flexible manufacturing system or computer integrated manufacturing. Along with that, nowadays whenever we engage in any kind of manufacturing activities, we need the support and assistance of the service sector, where we need kind of workforce, that workforce which are quality workforce, like we need analysts and we need researchers and we who always think about creating more value to the product so that the end consumer should get the product in much more efficient way, in the form of much more what do you say, development in the product. And they need to these analysts who or these people who are kind of intermediary between the producer and the consumer, they should create some kind of constant communication to the consumer. Like you nowadays we have lot of post sales activities are engaging. Nowadays we have data analytics team, and now if you do some kind of certification on data analytics, you'll get job very easily. So what these data analytics or what these service sector people are doing, they are trying to build a communication with the end consumer. The end consumer, the post sales, what they have received, the feedback from them, if that can be implemented on the product, then ultimately will always have a demand for the product in the market. Okay, so that the end consumer perception about getting the required quality in the product should be maintained. I hope you have understood the first part, manufacturing. The next part is the service orientation. Correct, guys?
Yes, sir.
Mm. So anyone just brief, no, manufacturing as a competitive advantage and service orientation.
Sir, in traditional operational management, they used to focus more on producing the mass products. So the volume was more in that time. But as time changed, even the operational management have changed according to the time. So
Mm,
now they focus on producing more like quality product. So there are few tools or techniques that company are adopting, like total quality management, like they focus on quality of the products, or like just in time, like they only start producing when they get the orders
mm,
to reduce the wastage. And
mm,
then flexible manufacturing system, so as and when they need to change their production things, they can easily be able to change in that. Or computer integrated manufacturing. They use they with the help of computers and uh, artificial intelligence or whatsoever, they produce products. And if they want to maintain good relationship with the customers or the suppliers, they use virtual corporation to maintain that relationship. And all these things give from service orientation because they are interconnected. So service orientation, they focus more on how the products can be handled, like intangible or like if at all it is service related, the intangible assets or perishable goods, they have to be maintained very sensitively. And they also have a constant relationship or interaction with the customers and etc, like
Very good, very
whatever.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. Then, then the next point is the disappearance of the smokestacks. So, smokestack, like you can understand this as like in the traditional setup, when we are talking about the traditional setup where we had old factories with chimneys, like large and dirty chimneys, which were creating lot of pollutions and all. So that need to be replaced now because nowadays there's something called carbon certificate, and there are a lot of stricter norms are there for the how you are treating the like the wastage, all that it need to be taken care. Nowadays, due to environmental law, technological process, and the knowledge based industries, the factory, they need to be cleaner and safer. They need to have a better designed and more comfortable to work on. And sometime we need a much more better examples of how we can create green and worker friendly and efficient environment so that any kind of mishaps can be avoided. So basically this the term smokestack here refers to tall chimneys which used to be built in old factories or industrial plant that used to release smoke gases and other pollutant into the air during the manufacturing process. But those were the past. Now we have companies like ABB, L&T, SmithKline become these all the examples of the companies which have actually transformed themselves to make sure that they can bring the proper communication in their production capabilities. At the same time, worker standards, the labor standards is also taken care, the safety norms are being taken care, and the wastage of the production process, the proper disposal or the waste management is being taken care so that the environmental and the end consumer they should get affect less because of these wastage. Next thing is the point is like small has become beautiful. So the economist EF skew measure introduced this idea called small is beautiful, where he believed that instead of large complex organization, if we have small and specialized unit, then it can be more effective and efficient. Okay, and he supported these ideas for him. The ideas of small has become more beautiful, where he have discussed about how ultimately we can create those kind of business models so that ultimately we can save what you say the utilization of plant layout. Okay, if we integrate our manufacturing system with the modern artificial intelligence tools and techniques, then we can have setups, small setups, a small area that will save rent, that will save what you say engaging in too much bigger space, and that way we can bring more changes and effectiveness also in our market so that basically the concept of having simple local tools instead of large machine, and the using regional labor and resources, small factories serving the local needs can be made more flexible, creative, and sustainable, so that the concept of mass productions and other things should be ignored, and we should focus more on engaging to create those kinds of output which have more what do you say demand in the market, which should come up with more advanced artificial intelligence and R&D techniques, so that ultimately our end consumer should become much more satisfied. So basically I can say that the modern production management is not about making good, it is about a creating goods which can compete through quality and flexibility, which can combine services with production, which should create eco-friendly and pleasant workplace, and we should encourage a smaller and more human scale system. So in short, I can say that the production today is smarter, cleaner, customer focused, and sustainable. I hope you have understood. These all are very basic thing.
Yes, sir.
Rajshri, and quickly summarize what are the characteristics of modern operation function in your own word. What do you have understood?
So the modern operation functions, the first one is manufacturing as competitive advantage, where here the main objective is competition where we produce more better than the competitors. Well, I'm telling it in a short.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is service orientation. Here, nowadays, service orientation has more importance, as after the production services, where we collect the feedback from the customers and we give more importance to the services after the production. The next one is disappearance of the smokestacks. Smokestacks are the tall chimneys which in the old factories that release smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, these these kind of chimneys are not there, as more environmental friendly things are there for the economical, which are economically friendly. The next one is small has become more beautiful, where this fame an economist EF
To measure.
sure. Well, he says that the small is beautiful, where the small businesses which work efficiently with
Like instead of having bigger manufacturing plant and which create huge wastage, and if you have more bigger and setups and all, then you understand now you cannot think about material management and all. The coordination between one department to other department used to be very difficult and all. There were days when our fathers were working and all, they used to work in very big setup where the plant is of 2 kilometer 4 kilometer big, and there's chimneys in one place, then you have some labor department in other part of the world, then you have account department in some other part. They you used to be no proper communication between one department to other department, and because of which huge wastage, resource utilization don't happen, used to happen efficiently. Earlier days, mass production was the concept, but now we are thinking about small has become more beautiful. So if required, do outsourcing. No need to manufacture everything. No need to create from zero to hero. Don't do all the activities by yourself, because you might not have efficient workforce. And like for all the business process, and all the business process, like to create the raw material to the end product, you may not be that much capable enough to have those trained or efficient labor to have those skill sets. Instead of doing that, what you can do, you can outsource some work. And if you, some part of your manufacturing requires some kind of specifications, and which you might not is having, you can outsource that work to other people who are much more efficient and trained in that process, and they will deliver a better quality thing to you in a smaller time, and you can give more pressure to them for that kind of development. And then you can engage that. Once you get that particular output, you can engage that in your manufacturing, or you can label it also. Nowadays you see, if you see many products which we are consuming around, it written made in China, although it is an Indian product. Maybe if you buy some, maybe if you go and buy iPhone 17 also, and you are buying from Indian outlet, and the assembly plant is in India, but the lithium ion battery and other component, the semiconductors, everything, these are all outsourced from some other part of world. Taiwan is developing semiconductors, China is developing lithium ion batteries, and so from all part of the world you just integrate the raw materials from which are being converted into some end product, E1, E2, E3 and all. You assemble all of them together and you create the end product, which you can label as made in India or whatever, and then you can sell, sustaining the objective of creating a cleaner environment around yourself, and so that you can have a kind of setup where you can have more communication with your end consumer, so that their requirement, their needs, their objective is taken care, and you have a set of teams, you have analysts, you have researchers who are keep on engaging in collecting the perceptions or the data of end consumer, so that the same is communicated to your manufacturing setup holder. You can put more pressure to them so that they can bring more innovations in the end product what they are manufacturing, and those innovations when you bring in your product, then ultimately you'll have better customer perception or satisfaction, and that will create a brand royalty or brand equity for your organization. Getting it right?
Yes, sir.
Everyone understand now?
Yes, sir.
The next thing we'll discuss is the recent trend in the production and operation management. 1 minute, I'll just have water. So when we talk about the recent trend in production and operation management, like nowadays the modern operation management is known for certain features, like those can be use of advanced technology, it can be shorter product life cycle, and the product has become outdated faster now. You create iPhone 17, after 2 months nobody will talk about iPhone 17. You will have Samsung, you have other competitor, they will create a much more better product, the which have the same kind of features what 17 is having. So the life cycle of the product has become very short nowadays. Now we are living in the world where we can see changing customer needs and preferences. Okay, the customer needs, preferences and all, they're changing very rapidly. Okay, nowadays we are seeing market and product disruptions, which push companies to innovate. Now there's an era of innovations. We are talking about globalization, where your business, the end product, what you are producing, you are competing with anyone and everyone around the world who can reach to your market. And you cannot work on something called protectionism, or where the government is protecting you, so that Chinese product or some other product cannot compete with you. Now we are living in the era of globalization, where you have your own product which you are selling in the market, and then you have the product from everyone from the world who are selling the same product in your market also. So what kind of innovations, what kind of disruption you can bring in your product, so that you'll always have demand of the product? That question need to be sustained. Okay, nowadays we are talking about the era where we have demand for top quality service at the affordable price. There is a need to reduce operational cost and improve efficiency. We need to talk about something called operational optimization. So optimization of resources to make sure that the costing is less. All that is very important nowadays. When we talk about use of advanced technology, we have modern facilities and companies who are using new machines, computers, software to make their work faster, more accurate, less wasteful. And now we can't uh, create a bigger versions. Now we cannot have very bigger product life cycle. Nowadays product don't stay popular or useful for long. New versions or better options comes out very quickly, so the company has to update and improve whatever they make. Okay, people taste and expectation nowadays changes very frequently. Customer listen to the uh, like companies, they have to figure out some kind of communication with the end consumer, so that the kind of changes what the customer is expecting on the product, that should be delivered. Okay, nowadays we are living in the world of new trends, competitors or technologies which can suddenly change the market, and the businesses need to become more creative, and they should come up with the new ideas so that they can stay ahead. And we are living in the world of globalization, where companies are no longer compete in their own country. They face competition from anywhere and everyone where from the business industry. Okay, now what is important that the customer or the firms, the company should find a smarter way to use the money, time, and resources to make sure that the less waste, lesser cost, and other things can be achieved. Getting it, everyone?
Sir, optimization means
Op-
updating.
no, no. Optimization basically, what do you mean by optimization? Uh, Basically, it is all about how you can create a setup so that you can use your resources to the best extent. There's something called operation research. There's subject called operation research. I don't know you have studied or not. So in operation research, we engage in lot of mathematical modelings and all. We engage in modeling activities so that we can discuss like how our manufacturing to be done, where the resources like human resource, your labor, your production capabilities, all can be used to the maximum possible extent, because every nothing is infinite. Like think in that way that you want to maximize your revenue. And what is the objective of the company? Earlier the objective of the company was to maximizing their profit maximization was the objective of the company. To work on profit maximization, what the company used to do, they used to like exploit the labor, and they used to make them to work 12 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours. And if somebody dies also, no care, and people are dying there, they're not eating food, and there's no safety standards they used to maintain. and they used to exploit them as much as they can. And then while selling the product also, they have their fixed market where they used to sell their product at the very high price, and ultimately the company used to achieve very good profit and all. But nowadays the work has changed. Now you need a proper setup, you need a proper layout. In that proper layout you have to have a machines, and if you need to have your machines of production set up in such a way that you should avoid bottlenecks, you should avoid wastage of resources, wastage of heat energy, wastage of the intermediaries. And you need to think about, you need to have a models, and you need to do some kind of mathematical modeling where you need to plan in some kind of setup. I should plan like where should my raw material utilization, where should be the storage, where should be this, where should be that, and there should be proper planning. There need to be a set of analysts, researchers who sit together and think about what kind of demands we are getting from the consumer, what kind of changes we need to make in our product. Then keeping those ideas in the mind, if we can do some kind of predictive modelings, and we can research about, okay, whatever the resources we have, resources are limited. You have limited labor, you have limited power, you have limited space, you have limited hours to work. You cannot work 14 hours. Now you have only 8 hours. You have only 20 employees. You have only this much hours of electricity. Everything is limited. So with the limited resource, how will you achieve unlimited or unrealistic target? How will you achieve a profit, higher profit? How will you achieve a lesser manufacturing? All that talks about optimization. I don't know you have understood or not. So ultimately, you have to reduce your operational cost. You have to reduce your costing. If you reduce your costing, then only your profit will become more. If you, like earlier, what they used to be only one company. That company used to manufacture, and then there's always a demand because there's no competition. Now we are living in the world of globalization where you are competing with anyone and everyone around you. So what matters is that how will you bring a product in the market at the lowest price, and with having all possible features what the customer can expect from the product, knowing the fact that this product what I've created, that will not persist till certain years and all. They will have a shorter lifespan because we have competitors, we have counterfeiters who will create a replica of this product. And once that replica would come, then definitely the demand of my product will reduce very significantly. So now the companies are facing competition from anywhere and everywhere. So when we talk about profit, profit is revenue minus cost. So you have to increase your revenue. To increase your revenue, you have to reach maximum people. To reach maximum people, you need a proper communication. And for that, you have to spend money in advertising. And when you are spending money in advertising, you are increasing your cost, and indirect cost is increasing. And but why you are doing advertisement, why you are doing social media, advertisement through Facebook or YouTube and other things, so that people will will know more about you. And you so if people will know more about you, there's a chance that they will buy your product, they'll try to reach you. But doesn't mean that they will reach you definitely, but they will try to reach you. And for that we are engaging in advertisement. Advertisement is the additional cost you are doing, and also you are increasing your cost. Indirect cost is increasing. But by engaging operation research, by engaging proper operation management, you are trying to reduce your cost. Cost here can be direct cost. So what kind of setups, what kind of mathematical modeling you can engage, so that you can ultimately reduce these costs. Okay, so that like just in time or business process re-engineering or total quality management, if you are engaging that way, you are trying to reduce your cost, you are trying to have a proper communication with your supplier, you are trying to have a proper communication with your end consumer, so that once the product is there in the market, that the same thing is being delivered at the right time, at the right cost, so that specific special, what do you say, specification, or what the the particular quality you are expecting from the product, that should be delivered to you at the right time, at the right place, at the minimum possible cost, so that like your pricing, you will also feel satisfied with the product. And I as a manufacturer should always have get you as you my end consumer, so that like always there's a demand is there for my product. So having a demand is also important. At the same time, maintaining the quality, sustainability in the product is also important. At the same time, competing with anyone and everyone around the world is also important. Getting it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Mm. So nowadays, like when we talk about operation management, it involved or it engaged in lot of activities, and a lot of challenges are happening around. So now when we are talking about production management, and if we are trying to compare production management with the operation management, the basically there are two differences are there between the production and operation management. So the point of difference what I'm talking about here is first can be the nature of output. Like production management deals with the system that make tangible product like goods. Operation management applies to the system that produces intangible output called services. Talking about the difference between production management and operation management is that the production management is all about a setup where we are trying to create tangible goods. Okay, while operation management is more frequently used where we are trying to create intangible services. Okay, so basically, when we are talking about operation management, it includes organizations such as banks, airline, hospitals, schools, consulting firms, police department, and factories which engage in delivering services. So production management is all about manufacturing, where we are trying to create a tangible good, while operation management is all about giving or applying systems that can produce intangible output, which we call as the services. And we are now we are seeing operation management, which is much more a modern term that includes both goods and services. Okay, so the recent trends when we are talking about in the production and operation management, it relate to the global competition and its impact on manufacturing. Some of the trend can be global marketplace. Now, like I have mentioned about globalization, and globalization has led the company to set up their operation in different countries to gain advantage. This has increased the competition among the manufacturers worldwide. Okay, now we are talking about a global marketplace where, like, imagine if you are creating some kind of crackers or you are creating some kind of fatakas for selling in Diwali. Okay, sitting somewhere in Tamil Nadu, and you are trying to sell in Bangalore. Now in Bangalore, along with your product, what you are trying to sell for Diwali and all, you have lot of Chinese product which are there in at the much more cheaper price, and the end consumer will not see the product is made in India or made in China. What important for the end consumer is to get the product at the cheaper cost. Okay, thereby competitions is has increased up very significantly around the world. Next thing is the production and operation strategies, where the companies now realize that their production or operation strategy is crucial to the overall success of the organization. Nowadays, companies use total quality management so that they can improve their quality of goods and services, so that they can have a better customer satisfaction. Now the firm, they adapt much more quickly in demand, product design or delivery schedules, so that ultimately we have systems like agile manufacturing, which gives lot of competitive advantage to the companies and all. Now there's a flexibility, or there's ability to adapt quickly to the change in the volume of demand, in the product mix demanded, and the product design or delivery schedule. And this is what we call as agile manufacturing. Now the companies, they need to be very flexible, uh, depending upon the demand they are getting on the product, depending upon the customers feedback what they are getting on the product, okay, depending upon the way the industry around is changing, because the product life cycle is very less. So if the companies, or if the research department, or if the manufacturing department, if they quickly, if they can transform themselves into some kind of setup where they can bring more changes into the product development as per the requirement of the market, then only the sustainability, then only surviving in the global marketplace becomes possible. And this is what we call as agile manufacturing. Getting it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Next is the time reduction. So time reduction basically means that the companies are trying to create product, and which is much more faster, and they should reduce the time between making and selling them. And if the two companies are offering the similar product, then the one that will deliver faster will get the competitive advantage. Simple thing. Now we are living in the world of new technology, where the technology has changed the companies, how their company can work, from making products to using computers and automation. And when they're used properly, it can improve quality in the product, and then it can make the company much more competitive. Then we are talking about worker involvement. Worker involvement basically means that the companies now involve employees much more in decision making and problem solving. And this is what we call as the empowerment, where the workers join quality circles or teams that work together to improve quality and solve any kind of problems if it happen in the manufacturing setup. And now we have ESOP, employee stock option plan, and all. Nowadays we have proper kind of channel network, a proper kind of communication from the labor skilled workforce to the top management of the company, so that a proper flow of information is happening between them. That way only the company can bring much more employee involvement and empowerment. And then only what do you say, customer satisfaction or employee retention become much more important for the company. Because nowadays, when we are talking about a global marketplace where there's so many companies are there which are creating similar kind of product, so the workers, the skilled workforce, also have enough opportunities in the market. If you are skilled workforce, you have enough opportunity, then why will you stick with only one company? है ना? Now we are talking about the era where people should stick with one company for the longer run. For them to stick with one company for the longer run, the proper respect, the proper communication, the proper education system, certifications, and any possible mediums should be encouraged in the workforce, so that they should feel that they are the part of the organization, they are the family, not they are the labor of the organization. If that kind of setup, that kind of human resource management, if that is involved in any kind of businesses, any kind of production process or service delivery mechanism, definitely that will improve the employee retention, that will definitely will save lot of cost on employee, what do you say, education, and then only you can bring efficiency in the market. Then when we talk about re-engineering, it basically talks about creating or developing a much more a better environment of the company so that they can improve their efficiency, their performance. It's like starting fresh and creating a better system from the scratch, that we discuss under re-engineering. Environmental issues, I think you all can understand by yourself. Nowadays companies are becoming much more aware about the pollution and waste, and they have to try to reduce waste and recycle material and use much more cleaner or safer chemicals and use much more eco-friendly packaging, so that the environment can be protected. And then the next thing is the corporate downsizing. What do you mean by corporate downsizing? Downsizing or right sizing ultimately is all about how you manage your workforce. And the companies sometimes reduce their staff or scale down the operation to become much more efficient. This helps them to reduce cost, increase profit, and provide returns to their shareholders. Downsizing or right sizing is all about how you are outsourcing your work, or how, like, nowadays company don't hire employees on a fixed employment basis. Nowadays it is being outsourced. Nowadays it is on contract basis, and you will get much more better freelance workers on a contract basis, and once the work is done, you paid them, and then it's gone. Then next time when again the project come, again you can employ them. So nowadays worker also working with multiple setups, and the companies also, instead of having fixed labor and all, they are talking about these kind of setups. Supply chain management is all about managing everything from getting raw material to delivering product to the customer. It helps to reduce cost to transport, storage, and distribution. Next is the lean production. Lean production is all about producing more goods with the fewer resources while maintaining high quality. It combines the benefit of mass production and job production using flexible system and the skilled workforce. So these are all the points which we have discussed in the recent trends in the production and operation management. It can be the global marketplace, production or operation strategy, total quality management, flexibility, okay, technology, time reduction, and in re-engineering, business issues, corporate downsizing, okay, supply chain management. All that is involved in the recent trends and in the manufacturing environment around us.
Sir,
Clear everyone? Huh.
can you tell again in short what exactly is downsizing? I did not understand.
Downsizing, right sizing basically means now you see it that we are living in the world of global competition. Global competition in the sense that the kind of, like, suppose if I'm a bread manufacturing company, for example, in Bangalore, I'm running a bakery. Okay, I'm running a bakery in Bangalore. Now, like me running a bakery in Bangalore, there are thousands of bakeries around me. So the employees who are working under me, they have thousands of opportunities. You are getting me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are thousands of opportunities are there for them. Now, if I want to retain a skilled workforce with me on a fixed employment basis, I may have to spend a lot of money for the retention, but at the same time, I know that the product what I'm creating, the product, my product what I'm creating, it demand fluctuate very frequently in the market. It's not like the product what I'm creating, it always have a demand. Suppose if you are running a hospital, always their demand is there. But now we are living in the world of competition, where because of change in customer perception, because of the change in environment, because of change in weather condition, because of change in habits, because of the change in seasons and all, some product uh, demand reduces, some suddenly it is rise up, suddenly it reduces. And we are living in the era where finding out what you say trend of your consumption of your product is getting much more difficult. So instead of engaging a fixed cost, see, when your revenue is not fixed, when your revenue is fluctuating, you have to fluctuate your cost also. So instead of engaging, you know that two kinds of cost is there: fixed cost, variable cost. So prefer more variable cost than the fixed cost, where if you have employees which work on a contract basis instead of a fixed employment, depending upon the kind of projects you are getting, depending upon the kind of requirement you are getting, if we have a proper communication with the required workforce which are available whenever you are looking for the particular assignment to be done, and if you give them that assignment on a contract basis, okay, on a freelance basis, and they deliver that to you in much more better quality, and then you can bring much more efficiency also into the market, and that way you reduce your costing also in the market, and that way you can survive also in the market. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
See, nothing is nowadays what is happening now. See, it all depends upon what product you are engaging. If you are engaging in that kind of product which always have a demand, then no worry. Create a workforce, create a workforce. That workforce will always work for you with a fixed salary. No, no, you're running a college. You're running a college where every time the big brand is there. Your college is a big brand. So every year, lot of student will take admission in your college. No worry. If lot of student will take admission in the college, no worry. Bring a good quality teaching staff. Spend lot of money on their trainings and other things, because once you have spent that money, that will be engaged, because there I'm talking about mass production. But if you nowadays how the working environment has become, working environment is very fluctuating nowadays. The product what you are trying to sell in the market, the demand of the product fluctuate very frequently. And so if you are creating that kind of product whose demand is very fluctuating, and then at the same time certain kind of jobs, if you are creating some kind of product which require very high end specification, which require a use of extensive technology, and in order to engage in those extensive technology you need very skilled workforce, and in having those skilled workforce on full time basis would definitely will increase your costing. Instead of doing that, what we can do, we can talk about contract basis work, where we can get those skilled workforce whenever the particular work come on a certain contract, and you can give more pressure to those skilled workforce because they are on your contract basis, so that they can deliver a much more better quality into the end product what they are creating. And that way you'll try to sustain into the global working environment, with minimizing your fixed cost and relying more on your variable cost. Getting it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And so basically, these all the points which are mentioned here, these all are self-explanatory. Either global marketplace, production operation strategy, total quality management, flexibility, time reduction, technology, worker environment, re-engineering, environmental issues, corporate downsizing, supply chain management, lean manufacturing, And lean manufacturing is like when the requirement come, that time only you source the raw material into the particular setup so that they can start manufacturing. Do not accumulate too much inventory and in your working environment, and you get the inventory when the requirement comes. That is what lean manufacturing is all about. Now we have much more better versions of manufacturing setups, either it's a total quality management, lean manufacturing, just in time, kaizen. All that is ultimately what they are trying to do. They're trying to bring much more efficiency in the production of goods, what we are trying to create. So if our input cost get reduced, automatically that will affect our revenue and that will affect our profitability in the market. Clear na? So by
Yes, sir.
this our unit 1 is over. Next class will start demand forecasting. Fine.
Okay, sir. Sir.
Okay guys. So this much from today class. I'll see you all tomorrow for the next class. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.